Hello and welcome to our unique Bruce Lee oriented channel. Today we present you this video on an article that we happened to come across online quite by accident. It reads, Bruce Lee once had a dream that Hollywood destroyed. Now his daughter is bringing it back to life. Shannon Lee featured. And it goes on to state, Bruce Lee is remembered by many as a legend in the martial arts community. His innovative movies featuring epic fights continue to stand the test of time even decades after his death. In 1961, Lee was 20 years old and a virtual unknown at the time. He made ends meet with small roles in TV shows, particularly the Green Hornet series. In January of that year, Lee sat down and wrote the following mission statement. Featured. And that reads, I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then onward to the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. By 1971, Lee, then 30, had become an international superstar following his success with The Big Boss, Fists of Fury, and Way of the Dragon. Although these were all Hong Kong movies, it pushed boundaries for Asian Americans in cinema and challenged stereotypes of how Asian men are typically portrayed in the mainstream. Around this time, Lee wrote a few treatments for films he wanted to produce. Among them was a pitch for a TV series called The Warrior, which follows a martial artist in the Old West, starring himself as the lead. Surely after all his success in Hong Kong and the subsequent legion of global fans to follow, Hollywood was ready for its first Asian TV lead. Unfortunately, it was rejected. Even with Bruce Lee's star power, the executives believed viewers were still not ready for an Asian lead on the big screen. Lee was forced to table the project. In the year that followed, Hollywood released Kung Fu, starring white actor David Carradine, who played a half-Chinese monk fighting bad guys in the Old West. The show is identical to the show that Lee pitched just a year before, so some couldn't help but speculate that Lee's idea was stolen and his character whitewashed. Ed Spielman, the creator of Kung Fu, claims that he wrote the screenplay after exploring New York's Chinatown in 1993. Carradine claimed to the LA Times that Lee was also considered for the lead role and addressed accusations that he got it because producers didn't want to cast a Chinese actor. He said, I only know what I know, and what I know is that I was sent a script and I said yes. What was I supposed to do? Say no? I didn't even know at the time that Bruce Lee had been considered. At that point in his career, Bruce was an actor, was a comedian. He had never shown any ability to do any dramatic acting. It was all fighting and jokes. What they needed for that part was somebody who could have a brooding, quiet power. And I, David Carradine, had more of that than Bruce did. Nonetheless, the show ran for 64 episodes until 1975, earning Carradine Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, awards Lee never received in his entire career. Inverse noted. Lee passed away unexpectedly in 1973. Despite all that he had achieved and the roads he paved for future Asian talents, there were many passion projects of his that never came into fruition. In the decades that followed, Linda Lee Caldwell, Bruce Lee's widow, started Bruce Lee Enterprises to preserve her late husband's legacy. In 2000, her daughter Shannon Lee took the reins as Caldwell prepared for retirement in 2001. Her first order of business was to sort through her father's things, which are now called the archives, Shannon Lee told NetShark. When she first took over for her mum in 2000, she was running the business from her house. Her mum had sent the boxes down and she was keeping them in an off-site art storage facility. She would bring boxes home one or two at a time to go through. It was just her and her now ex-husband going through everything. Back then, They were a very small and truly family business, and in many ways they still are. As she was going through her father's old things, she came across pages of old notes, including the treatment for the warrior. She states, "I've always known about this treatment. It's part of my family history," Shannon Lee told Nick Shark. "My mum had told us stories about it, so I knew that it existed, but I had never actually seen it or read it until the end of 2000. However, she was still new to the business at the time and lacked the capital and resources to make her father's dream a reality, so the project was shelved once again. For the next decade, Lee drove herself into debt in negotiating and buying back rights to her father's name. While she was ultimately successful, she is still working to pay off those debts to this day." In the following years, a series of mainstream movies that originally had Asian leads but were replaced with white characters have drawn ire from the Asian community. From The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Evolution to most recently Ghost in the Shell, or years ago Ghost in the Shell, and Aloha. However, deep strides have also been made with Justin Lin's Better Luck Tomorrow and most recently John M. Chu's Crazy Rich Asians, helping propel more Asian faces into the mainstream. In 2014, director Justin Lin, who had heard rumours of the treatment, called up Shannon Lee personally to confirm its existence, Lee said. There's comments made. Lin proved true to his word, and Warrior was born with Jonathan Tropper, Justin Lin and Shannon Lee acting as executive producers. Tropper wrote the script for it, but it's based on Bruce Lee's writings from his original treatment. And they make a statement here, or Tropper maybe makes him a statement. "I think we did work really hard to stay true to the essence of his vision and to tell the story that he wanted to tell in a contemporary way." This is Shannon Lee saying this. Lee said, "It's been almost 50 years since he completed the treatment." The show is set in the late 1870s in San Francisco, California, during the Tong Wars, or the Dong Wars, a period of violent disputes in Chinatown between rival gangs that lasted until 1921. Andrew Koji, a British Japanese actor, plays R. Sam, the main character, who is a martial arts prodigy. First episode begins with R. Sam first arriving in San Francisco from China to look for his sister. As he gets off the boat, he witnesses a fellow Chinese person get racially abused by 3 white officers. They turn their attention to R. Sam, who then says the most gangster quote ever: "I didn't travel halfway across the world in that damn boat just to amuse a few fat white so-and-sos." The men then barrage him with racial slurs before R. Sam delivers the hardest ass-whooping of all time. He's then quickly recruited as a hatchet man for the most powerful Dong gang in Chinatown, and so forth. And they continue on about that particular series. Despite all challenges Lee faced, even after attaining so much success, he never showed any ounce of resentment or anger publicly. In fact, he seemed to look at everything with a huge level of understanding and positivity. During an interview with the Pierre Burton Show, which aired on December 9, 1971, he said, "Well, such questions have been raised. In fact, it has been discussed, and that is why The Warrior is probably not going to be on, I think, because unfortunately such things does exist in this world, you see. They think that business-wise it's a risk, and I don't blame them. I mean, in the same way, it's like in Hong Kong. If a foreigner comes and becomes a star, if I were the man with the money, I probably would have my own worry of whether or not the acceptance would be there." Bruce Lee just had a positivity about the way he approached the new look, Shannon Lee told Nick Stark. In life, whether we're talking about representation of being in a romantic relationship or about being in a work setting, people don't want to work with angry people. Even if what someone is doing is wrong, they still don't want somebody who's yelling at them and blaming them. And she thinks that as a society we've gotten so polarised, everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else, and that doesn't help create bridges. That makes everybody just standoffish with one another. Shannon Lee already made up her mind about what she was doing and where she's going, and it was just on her to excite other people about her, as opposed to tell them about how they're being unfair to her and so forth. And this is the show here, Warrior Season 1, etc. The show had seen great success with a 90% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a renewal for a second season, and so forth. It also received a stamp of approval from Shannon's mother, Linda Lee Caldwell, according to Shannon Lee. And her end quote is, "I think my dad would be really proud of the project. I think we worked really hard to stay true to the essence of his vision and to tell the story that he wanted to tell in a contemporary, since it's been almost 50 years since he completed the treatment. That the level of care and enthusiasm that we all put into it," Shannon Lee and others, "she thinks he would be thrilled that this is seeing the light of day." And if you like this particular video we brought you on this article, then please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and add your comments below the video, and we will get back to you on those as soon as we can. And then go share this video on this particular article about the late great Bruce Lee and all that's detailed there.